Could you imagine if Kawhi Leonard doesn't even get them to a conference finals? Oh, no, 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 no. I'm not looking at Paul George. I'm looking at him.
Fair point. I'll say this. If he chokes in a Game 7 again, I think you'd be right. I don't anticipate that because he's never done it before.
I don't either.
He's always been, again, look at Kawhi's playoff record. He's one of the greatest players who ever lived in the playoffs. Yeah. He's better than normally in the regular season. That's a great player.
Well, saying, no, I disagree with you there. I'm not saying numbers-wise. What I'm saying is you weren't asked to do anything in the regular season when you were with the Spurs compared to what they asked you to do in the playoffs.
Okay, but then in Toronto.
I'm just saying that, but they asked for more. In Toronto, yeah, I mean, but you would consider, but you remember, he took about 22 games off. It was the load management thing. He wasn't asked to do that.
He was there for the playoffs.
He was there for the playoffs.
In the playoffs, he's been one of the greatest players ever in the playoffs. Okay. But he did choke in Game 7.
You got to remember those conditions.
So if he does that again, I'm with you. All right, that's on you, Kawhi. The pressure would be. But I'm saying this. Basically, he's not the GM LeBron is. LeBron looked at Miami and said, I'm going to take Wade and Bosh, put himself in a winning situation. Kyrie and Kevin Love, putting himself in a winning situation. All right, I'm only going to be able to have one dude with me in L.A. Who's that going to be? AD. Winning situation. AD's an MVP caliber player. Kawhi's only got to make a choice one time. That was to go to the Clippers and say, hey, bring me Paul George. Paul George then has to be a second banana who can play at almost an MVP level. He hasn't done it in the playoffs. Now, the reason he's with the Clippers and not the Lakers, Stephen A., is because LeBron tried to get him in L.A. Hey, come join me in AD. That's non-competitive. The league is not competitive for that.
And I respect you for that. And
Kawhi's like, no, I'm going to compete against you.
I respect
the best available dude was Paul George.
Yeah, but that's you. Why don't you get the hell over it, Max? Why don't you stop hiding behind all of this stuff? Max, why don't you give him a Christmas card? Buy him a Christmas present. Invite him over to dinner. You want to celebrate
Paul
that?
George got to step up.
What I'm saying to you is that, yeah, that's what he did.
Yeah.
I respect that. He did it. But in the end, it's about what you're going to do. You came to L.A. for a reason. You had them sacrifice the farm for a reason. You wanted Paul George. You wanted your point guard. They've given you everything you wanted. And we know he was asking for some other stuff, the private jets and everything else. We probably know he got that too.
You get it.
I'm not mad at him.
Get
it all. But in the end, you got to show up. And if Kawhi Leonard, listen, if the Los Angeles Clippers don't make it to the conference final.
Let me ask you something.
The number one person you must look at is Kawhi Leonard.
Let me ask you something. If they don't make it to the conference finals,
right?
And who do you predict it will be who has underperformed? Kawhi, Rondo, or Paul George?
I would tell you it would be Paul George based on history. Right. Based on history. Because Rondo shows up in the playoffs, and Kawhi has too, except Game 7 last year. But what I'm saying to you is, again, similar to what I was talking about with Westbrook, I know what you can do. I know your numbers. That's a given. The point is, you got to finish the job. And if you're Kawhi Leonard and you know, Ballmer did all of this because you're trying to build a new arena where the former LA
Kawhi
Forum,
said, get me Paul George or I'm not coming.
Where the LA Forum used to be, you're trying to build a new arena there. You're trying to establish yourself in LA. This is what you're trying to do. It's a big deal. That's why he did all of this.
So let me get
and
this
you got to at least get us to the conference finals.
By that logic, though, like if LeBron, who chose Kyrie, right? Like he comes back to Cleveland because he sees Kyrie, goes, oh, I can win with this cat, right? And then brings in Kevin Love also. If Kyrie didn't play big in Game 7 against the Warriors and they lose, that's on LeBron? No, that's like LeBron identified a killer in Kyrie. If anything you want to criticize Kawhi about is that he thought Paul George had something in him, which might be there, by the way. I'm rooting for Paul George just like you are.
Paul George does have it
might be there, and he might do it, but he hasn't done it yet.
The problem with Paul George is that you're constantly asking him to be that dude that scores regardless of being contested, whatever. Nothing is coming easy for Paul George because nobody is facilitating anything easy for Paul George. That's why Rondo's going to be so important.
That's why the pressure's on him, because he has that now.
But I'm not saying that Paul George doesn't have to produce. I'm saying in the end, if the Clippers come up short, how dare anybody look at Paul George before they look at Kawhi Leonard? You didn't show up in Game 7 either.
So if Kawhi drops 30 a night, hits clutch shot after clutch shot, and they come up short against a monster like Denver or Utah, and Paul George
you're looking at it differently than me. You know what I'm looking at it, Max? If you're good enough to get to a Game 7, close. I'm not looking at Paul George to close. I'm looking at Kawhi to close. Now, if you get bum rushed in 5 or something like that, well, then that's different. But if you good enough to get to a game 7, what did I say when Allen Iverson went up against Kobe and Shaq? I went like this. Oh, AI gonna get you one. He gonna get you one.
When Jordan,
you get to a game 7, you Kawhi Leonard, you should be able to close.
When Michael Jordan went to a game 7 against the Pistons, defending champions, Scottie Pippen had a migraine, scored 2 points in 40 minutes, right? Was that on Jordan for not closing?
No, but that was before Jordan became a champion.
But
Kawhi's a two-time champion.
You want to point to that game and say that's on Jordan because they got to a game 7?
But we talk about the bad boy Pistons. They beat you. They made new rules because of what they did to Jordan. Yeah. Are you kidding me? You can't compare.
The point is, you're not looking at MJ, you're looking at Pippen.
Listen, Jordan got beat up. In the case of Kawhi Leonard, Jamal Murray dropped 40. 40.
I'm not arguing against that.
40.
I'm not arguing against Kawhi choking in this game 7. He just never choked before.
Could you have stopped Jamal Murray from dropping 40?
Nobody
Don't
stopped
you know how to
Jamal
play
Murray.
Oh, really?
No.
I thought Kawhi could.
No, nobody could stop Jamal Murray.
I thought Kawhi could.
Nobody could stop Jamal Murray. Stop.
I understand.
He just had a series against Donovan Mitchell. 50 points, no turnovers, one game.
Listen,
50 with no turnovers.
Kawhi Leonard. What is Kawhi Leonard known for? Why was he an MVP against Miami?
Defense.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
But ain't no defensive player stopping that Jamal Murray.
Okay. Well, then you ain't that dude.
Kawhi's not that dude.
Then you ain't that dude.
Because he can't stop Jamal Murray.
Get to a conference finals.
I'm with it. His main support's got to show up.
Conference finals.
Agreed. PG-13 got to show up.
He'll show up. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.